This week we are coming at you live from Kansas City Retro 2023 in Overland Park, Kansas, with a ton of amazing special guests. Welcome to the Infinite Taylorverse. Warning.
Red alert.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger!
That's the emergency alert.
This episode is full of spoilers for some of the latest and greatest nerdy movies and shows.
Spoilers.
Listener discretion is advised. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Infinite Taylorverse podcast. I'm Billy Taylor.
And I'm Taylor Oxner.
And this week, we are hanging out at KC Retro. It's a new con that's been around for a couple years now. This is year 2, and it's pretty booming right now. What would you say, Taylor?
Yeah, a lot of steady traffic, a lot of familiar faces, and a lot of new faces.
Yeah, it's taking place over here in the Overland Park Convention Center in Overland Park, Kansas, and the foot traffic is kind of crazy. It's nonstop, and man, there's a lot of cool stuff here. First of all, when you walk through, there's tons of pinball machines and arcade machines and consoles set up, and that alone right there is worth the cost of admission to get to do that for free play for 2 days.
Yeah, and while we're on that topic, we thank Derek and the Retro Zone guys for letting us come out and do this.
Yeah, those guys are here, and they've got their cool collectibles and stuff for sale, and then the KingCade Arcade side of their business has all these awesome machines, and yeah, like I said, that alone is worth coming, but man, there's some really cool stuff here for sale, and a lot of talented people selling their art and crafts and jewelry, and then of course collectibles everywhere. Tons of video game style collectibles, because that's kind of what this event's all about. I'm talking all the way down to Atari, all the way up to the latest consoles. Anything you're probably looking for is probably here somewhere, unless someone's already bought it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I'm kind of scoping out all these Funko Pops that I'm seeing everywhere. There's a sweet Pokemon card table. These people are selling their cards for 2 cents each. I went and bought my kid 100 of them for nothing.
Yeah. I got a bunch of Toy Biz, X-Men, and Marvel characters for my collection for fairly cheap as well. So
yeah. But yeah, all in all, anyone who missed out on this event, you're missing it, man. So hopefully the next time this rolls around, you get yourself out here and come have fun, because it's awesome.
yeah, absolutely.
Coming up soon, we're going to, chat with some friends. We're going to chat with some video game people that are here repping their YouTube channels and everything. But yeah, stay tuned. All right, you guys, right now we are sitting here with our buddy, Derek Smith from the KingCade Arcade and the Retro Zone. Derek.
How's it going?
How is it going, man?
Man, I'm not going to lie. I am all over the place right now, but in a great way. Like, I love what I'm seeing right now. This is special.
Yeah, this event is killing it, man.
Thank you.
The traffic has kind of been nonstop, so that's kind of cool.
Very consistent.
And we've been people watching a little bit, and people are leaving here with a lot of stuff. So
yeah, people are buying, vendors are selling, people are getting their names out, their brands out. The connections and networking that are being made right now today are just tenfold. Everybody's more than pleased, and everybody's just vibing out, and they're excited for tomorrow too. So
yeah,
it's good stuff.
I'll bet tomorrow is just as good, if not more traffic.
I've been seeing a lot of weekend passes on the wrist, so
yep.
and honestly, I try to tell people, the last day is the best day for the deals.
Yes.
Many people don't want to bring their stuff home, so
right.
You can talk down a lot of those prices. So I hope people come in and take advantage of that.
Yep. And I've been telling people that if you only paid the price of admission to come play some games, you're getting a deal. But guess what? There is so much more.
Yes, and there's some arcade games in here that literally are some of the hardest and rarest ones to find. There's stuff I've never even heard of that I got to play, and then Konami made. I was like, what is going on? But there's some great stuff, and the arcades, the pinball selection, amazing. Supernova and Draftcade and Unico, they did a great job, and of course KingCade. We put it all together and made it all work.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So the big question right now is, do you think next December, KC Retro 3.0?
Yeah, most definitely. I think we're more than sure that this is going to go forward into the next year.
Awesome. Well, we are looking forward to it. And as usual, you guys, you know the drill. If you need your arcade fix, go find the KingCade Arcade at the Oak Park Mall. And if you need some collectibles for the best deals, go over to the Retro Zone.
Thank you so much, everybody. And, keep on listening to the Infinite Taylorverse podcast because those guys are some of the best out here to listen to. So we appreciate them just like they appreciate us. So.
Sounds good. I'll put your check in the mail, man.
Yes.
All right, you guys. I'm sitting here with Ryan from the Old School Gamer magazine. How you doing, Ryan?
Oh, I'm having fun. It's a little bit slower time here, so good time for us to sit and talk a little bit about everything nice and geeky.
Yeah, you might remember, listeners, back from earlier this year's Planet Comic-Con, we had the awesome opportunity to sit with these guys all weekend and do our show thing, and we had a chat with Ryan back then about some video games, so I thought it'd be cool to bring him back on here and just catch up with him and see what's going on with his magazine right now, and maybe what games are the ones he's kind of into right now. So how are things going with the magazine, man?
Going pretty good. We just came out of a Kickstarter that brought in a good amount of our funding for the year on things, but we're always trying to make this thing a little bit more profitable because right now I kind of lose money. It's a hobby. That's a business technically according to the IRS. Yes, it is a business, but I enjoy doing it. I mean, coming down for Planet Comic-Con, coming down for this is my last show of the year of doing like 20 or 25 of them. So I'm kind of like, yay, it's over. Let's relax. Let's stay at home a little bit more on the weekends. But I was hunting through all kinds of different stuff here, ran into a bunch of friends, including yourself, ran into some guys who actually up in Des Moines last week that run one of the biggest arcade collections in the Midwest. It's based here out of Kansas City. Supernova, by the way, if you ever talk with those guys. Found myself an Intellivision game as part of my collection. I'm up to about 80 or so of the Intellivision games. That's an easier thing to collect for, so I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But back on the magazine stuff, I mean, we just put out our 37th issue. I've got it here. Obviously, this is audio, so you can't see it. But we covered Broderbund, who back in the days of the 70s and 80s was all over stuff. And if you can picture this, even better, go to oldschoolgamer.com and look at it yourself. We kind of made it look like it was a printout from a dot matrix printer with little pinholes on the side of it. We covered Karateka, Carmen Sandiego, Choplifter, that kind of stuff, along with a bunch of other material that's out there. Kind of the way we do our magazine, if you haven't heard much about it with us, is we give away the first half of it digitally. Anybody can check it out off of our website. And then you can subscribe to it digitally or in print and just enjoy with us. Be part of our mission of documenting video game history.
Yeah, that's awesome. And obviously we're at the right place right now for people who enjoy video games. And that's what KC Retro is mostly all about, is the love of the games.
It kind of started with that. It's expanded a lot of other geeky stuff too. That's why it's not just retro video games here. I mean, I think the majority of the vibe in the room is the Atari, Mario, Sega, up to the PlayStation kind of vibe, but there's all kinds of cool stuff here. It's a very neat event.
Yeah. For me personally, in the realm of video games, when I was a kid, my favorite line of games was all the Zelda games, but when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, Super Nintendo made Super Mario RPG.
Yeah, I said they just I haven't checked out. Have you already bought the new one?
Well, the Switch just kind of remastered it and re-released it. It's the same exact game, but with, modern graphics. And it came out the Friday before Thanksgiving, and I bought it, and I could not stop playing it. It brought back so many fun memories.
Well, I was traveling to a convention in Ohio and had brought my Switch with me because I run the esports team at my high school, my day job, and started playing Super Mario Wonder.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I hadn't really played a Mario game seriously for probably 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I messed around with stuff, but of actually trying to get through levels and open worlds, oh my gosh, they've still got that vibe that only Nintendo has.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all the other consoles and stuff like that too, but Nintendo's just got a vibe of that family play.
Yeah.
It's got to be, I ought to try RPG out. I used to play the old Might and Magic, the old RPG Dungeons and Dragons kind of games. Tell me, how does Super Mario RPG compare to that? I mean, is it just kind of dropped into that kind of a environment?
It's a whole open world type thing.
You're collecting, you're gaining experience, your
armor, weapons, that kind of stuff, accessories. You gotta gain XP to gain higher levels to fight harder bad guys. And if you ever played, Final Fantasy 3 or something like that on the Super Nintendo, it totally gives me that vibe.
That's the thing. We want to start doing some more stuff in the magazine. Maybe I'll have you write it for me, of covering new games based on older styles, the remasters, the new whatever game that is on a modern console but redone. Like the Atari 50 series. If you've seen the Atari 50 series, they have the original Yard's Revenge on there. Then they have a reinvented version of it. They have the original tank combat game on there. Then they have a 4-player multiplayer version of it. Taking games and bringing them up into the modern era and letting our kids and eventually our grandkids play stuff that has ancestry.
Yep.
So.
And the cool thing with this Mario RPG game is, other than how it looks and sounds, it is the exact same game. You got to go to the exact same part of the map.
Go to the same corner, pick up the same tool, bring it over here and do it. Yeah.
It's awesome. And it even has in the settings, you can go in there and go to the music settings and change it to the old 8-bit Super Nintendo sound. Yeah.
There's a game being released by Digital Eclipse. I don't know if you've seen the people from Digital Eclipse. They actually just got bought by Atari. They took a game that's more in my era of gaming called Wizardry. It's back Apple II era. You could play it. It's a modern Steam, and it's going on some of the other platforms, but you literally can flip on the old school ray traced mode where it looks like the game from the 80s. It is still based off the same engine, and it just has extra calls out to the better graphics. I mean, there's people really putting some love into the stuff that we grew up with.
That's awesome. Well, cool. Well, do you got anything going on right now that you want to plug to anyone for anything?
Just get the word out about us. I mean, our job is to document video game history. Like, there's so many books out there and so many other things that are there, but we're trying to document stuff that people don't know about. Like, I found out yesterday about a successor, a cousin to Oregon Trail, the old game, and found out some stuff about that from a guy. It's like, we got to write about that. We got to find out about people documenting and pulling old games off of arcade boards that no one's ever seen before, rare stuff. We're trying to just encourage to get all this on paper, so to say, with air quotes around it, on paper, but documented, because a lot of the people out there that have done this stuff back in the early days, they're getting up in their ages. They're 70, 80 years old, and those stories are going to go away. So help us document it. Help us by subscribing to the magazine and spread the word. Oldschoolgamer.com is where you need to go to check us out and tell us that Taylor sent you.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, hey, man, thanks for chatting with us today, and look forward to seeing you again at the next convention around.
See you probably at Planet Comic-Con. Thanks, sir.
Awesome. Thanks.
What's up, guys? We are sitting here with our friend, the Godbeast, Mr. Marty Hansen. Marty, how you been doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. What a show.
Yeah. So, from those of you that have been listening to us for a little while now, you might remember our episode when Marty was on and we talked about his creative toy making, and he's really cool at what he does. And I just want to catch up with you, man. How's things been going since the last time we talked?
It's been a whirlwind. I'll be up to my 10th show the week before Christmas when I go to Designer Con, which we do every year. And I've had 5 new product toy drops during the course of the year. But this last quarter of 2023, I've literally done 5 of those shows in the 2.5 months and 2 toy drops. So yeah, I need Christmas to come, New Year's, and then I need to go into hibernation.
Right. No, I get that, man. Well, cool. I know Taylor and we've been following you on social media and things and watching your cool stuff as it pops up, and I can't express enough to those of you. Obviously, this is an audio show. You're not seeing what we're talking about, but it's such a cool thing visually, but also we each have a couple of your figures, and they're just so cool to play with, man.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. Yeah, I like doing local shows because I think, way back to the days when I moved back to Kansas City from Des Moines, Iowa, I don't think anybody realized how many toys and artists, professional sculptors live here in Kansas City. And my studio was located inside another studio that did all the rapid prototyping, silicone molding, cold cast resin 2-ups for NECA, Hallmark, Sideshow collectibles, on and on and on and on. And then you got about a half a dozen professional sculptors that at least I know locally. And we're a pretty good, tight group of friends, but yet a lot of those guys don't do these shows. They don't have their own production figures being produced in China. They just do their own art, or they do all the prototyping or sculpting for the big companies. So it's kind of cool because I get to get out here and show what independent artists, toy makers can do. And I'm this is my 11th year that I've been in production, and it just seems like every year it's like one more toy show, one more Comic-Con. And, you know, being up to 10 this year. Last year, I think I did 9. I was trying to reel back this year and do like 6 or 7.
You got sucked right in.
I got sucked right in. And, you know, KC Retro, Derek and Nate doing this show locally, supporting these guys, them supporting me. You know, we brought it this year. I'd have to say we have the tallest booth.
Right.
With Pillsbury Doughboy at the very top. But, you know, I bring my production figures, but I also toy collect on the side, and so do my friends. And it's all about networking and helping other local guys get their, you know, shows going, get their stores going. You know, brick and mortars are important. We got quite a few different local brick and mortar toy shops, friends of mine that I've known for years. And you get as many people as you can all together into a geek meet like this.
Yep.
And it's just loads of fun. And I like that it's in Johnson County, Kansas here in Overland Park, at the Overland Park Convention Center, not too far from me, and you know, more centrally located. You know, and I also like the mid-sized shows better than the big cons that I do, just because they're all local people. There's people I've known for years that haven't maybe seen me for a while, because I do C2E2, New York Comic Con, Designer Con, Legions Con. I mean, I could go on and on. There's ones in Indiana. I've started doing the Indiana Toy and Comic Expo. I'll be doing the Geek Meet next March in Indiana. Duquesne County Toy Show, one of the U.S. longest toy shows. I've done that for the last couple of years. So kind of branching out to different venues. I do flea markets in little Nebraska towns now, and I sell just as many toys there sometimes as I do at the big shows. So it's really cool to see people supporting local artists, independent artists especially, because, you know, you can go to the toy store and you can buy whatever right off the shelf, or you can sit at home and just order it online. And it's not as cool as when you get to meet the artist and you get to see whether they sculpted it like me with my own 2 hands, did my own molding and prototyping, and, you know, got it funded and without a Kickstarter, and do it yourself and get your toys made in China, than it is just buying a toy off a shelf that you don't even know the artist behind who sculpted it necessarily. And that's another reason why all these local friends that have worked for the big companies, I've spread the word to say, oh yeah, my buddy Rudy Garcia sculpted that, or Jason Fraley sculpted that, or Adrian Smith sculpted that. It's cool to plug your friends and maybe drop a little toy knowledge that the common collector might not know.
Yep.
So that was pretty long-winded.
No, that's perfect, man.
You never get a straight answer from me. It's just a long-winded description of life.
No, I get it, man. So for those of you guys listening, if maybe they didn't catch that first episode, tell these guys where they can go find your work, find your awesome, talented creations, man.
Sure. You can go to www.godbeast.com, and that's where my store is. Plus, if you look at my antique website and you go to the top toolbar, or whatever you want to call it at the top, you can see my old collection, my toy collection from circa 2006. You can see different goofy little articles I was in, like Clutter Magazine or Lee's Toy Review from back in the day. I also have links to my social media. I'm the Godbeast on Instagram. I'm Godbeast on Facebook. I also have Facebook pages that are dedicated to each one of my individual independent characters, which is Kabuto Mushi, Nemesis, and Titan Mushi on Facebook.
Awesome. Well, cool, man. Well, thanks for stopping back by with us. When we hit the new year, man, we're going to have you back on if you'll have us.
I can't wait. We're going to have to recap what I was talking about last time, and then we'll have to kick it up a notch.
Sounds good, man. Well, thanks for stopping by.
Hey, thank you.
Awesome. Well, what's up, guys? It's me, Billy, here at KC Retro, and we are here with Derek, A.K.A. General Malice. Derek, how you been doing, man?
Doing pretty good, man. Enjoying myself. How about yourself?
Doing well. It's been really fun. So we've been trying to just talk to guests of this show, and we wanted to have you come sit down with us and talk a little bit about what you're doing out there, and obviously on your business side of things, but also we're all here as collectors right now. And so I want to hear a little bit about what you do, but also a little bit about what you collect.
Oh, man. So I own Malice Media, dude. We are a international company. We go around to conventions all around the world, starting with usually Tokyo Comic Con in December, work our way through the bigger conventions like Game On, the Midwest Gaming Classics, Portland Retro Gaming Expo, Classic Game Fest, Retro Mania, or Retropalooza, and then we do the smaller ones too, like Retro Mania and the awesome, great conventions like this here at Kansas City Retro, which is our second year here, back here.
Very cool. So, okay, it's really cool to hear about what you do, but this convention is focused heavily on video games and video game type stuff. Tell us a little bit about what was your go-to video game stuff when you were young as a kid, and then also what does that look like now?
Okay, so my go-to, what I grew up got to play, if I was going to hands down, it's a hard tie, almost, but one has to win, right? So it's between Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1.
Okay.
So Super Nintendo was where I first grew as a gamer. I came from the Mario, 2-button, Contra, jump platformers, right? And then when I got the Super Nintendo, I got to find the love of RPGs.
Yep.
And where I got to read, I got to have problem solving, story dialogue, and actually falling in love with characters. But then you go to the PlayStation 1 side, then where you get to come into your own. I'm a little bit older, 2 years, and I get to have that fun with, Lara Croft and, Silent Hill and Resident Evil and, all the RPGs that came out on that. And so I had to go PlayStation 1. I just have to. Just, Super Nintendo, it will always have a place in my heart. And I love Nintendo so much. For the people at home that can't see this, I got a whole Mario test piece.
Nice.
From chest to chest, clavicle of the whole Mario 3 setup. So I love Nintendo through and through. The PlayStation 1, it's got to be my go-to.
That's awesome. I was just talking to someone else earlier. They asked me what's my go-to game or game genre, I guess. My favorite of all time is anything Legend of Zelda. From the 8-bit classic stuff to the recent Tears of the Kingdom. I can sit down and play any of them anytime. I love it so much. But thinking of the Super Nintendo, my favorite RPG as a little, I think I was 8 when that came out, was Super Mario RPG, which they just re-released, all redone on the Switch and everything. And I had a chance to go get that game and play it, and it's the exact same game. It just has modern looks to it, and that game kind of ruined me for any other RPG because it has the little timed hits, and I still find myself trying to do that in other RPGs, and it's not even a thing. But yeah, this Super Nintendo is definitely my throwback, my go-to when I think of what made me so happy as a kid.
No, I definitely agree, man. And, that's the best part about it. We get to have these enjoyments of what we grew up, and then, like, going back and playing them, I see those memes where it's like, oh, well, it doesn't hit like the first time. Yeah, it does. It does, because you got to immerse yourself back into it, and that's what I love about these conventions. You see everybody coming, ready to relive it or have fun with that experience or share their experience with everybody else with their collections or their knowledge, and that's what I love about these communities, especially here at Kansas City Retro.
Yeah. Well, cool. Let's see. One last question. Outside of the gaming world, what do you collect? Is there anything you collect? Any figures, any collectibles?
Okay, so outside of video games.
Yes.
Okay, so 2 things. I got to experience Magic the Gathering in its birth.
Yeah.
So, with the exception of like hardcore Power 9 for beta and alpha, I do have alpha stuff, I do have beta stuff, I have unlimited everything. Like, I am a hardcore collector of Magic the Gathering. I love playing the game. I love looking at the classic stuff. Anything prior to Urga's Saga, Legacy, Block, all that stuff, that's my heart, right? I grew up doing that. Caveat to that, it pushed me, Magic the Gathering introduced me to Pokemon, the card game. So I was number 2 in the United States in 1999 for the card game. And I loved Pokemon so much growing up that I got to experience that with my 25-year-old daughter and my 18-year-old son. So getting to go through them. So those are the 2 things that I collect outside of video games because, one, nostalgia for me, being a part of that, and then also passing that on to my children and having that something to relate with them for.
Oh, absolutely. My oldest son, he's 10 now, and it's probably because of me, but he is so into Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, I love sharing that with those guys. Well, hey, thanks for stopping by with us here for a couple minutes here. Before we hop off, is there anything you'd like to plug? Where can folks find you on social media, TikTok, all these places?
Well, man, y'all can find me mostly. I love being on TikTok, General Malice, General_Malice on TikTok. You can find me on any social media platform, though. I have General Malice for everything. So YouTube, Instagram, Kick, and as well as my website, malicemediallc.com, where you can contact me if you're at a convention looking for consulting or if you're looking to have talent come out. You can book me out there as well.
Awesome. Well, hey, man, thanks for sitting with us for a few minutes, and it was great chatting, man.
Man, Billy, thank you very much for having me on.
Talk to you later.
Yes, sir.
All right, you guys. Now we are sitting down here with Jay from Game Chasers. Jay, how you been doing, man?
I am swell, thank you.
How's the past couple days been for you here at KC Retro?
It's been great. I do a lot of conventions actually, and I have the last 12 years, and I love coming out to these things.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so tell us a little bit about Game Chasers. Tell us what you guys do for our listeners who might not have a clue what's going on, and tell us how you got into it and all that stuff.
So Game Chasers is basically think like American Pickers, but video games. Instead of just, random junk, it's video games. And this is something me and my friend Billy were doing. And one day we were literally watching an American Pickers marathon, and he's like, hey, let's do this, but with video games. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, no, I'm serious. Like, I'll get a camera, I'll edit it, because he has a background in videography and editing and stuff. He's worked for news stations in the past. And I literally was just like, all right, let's do it. And that was 2011, and we're still going.
That's awesome. What's probably the coolest thing you guys have done in your little adventures out there? The coolest thing you found?
Oh my gosh.
Or top coolest.
On camera, it would be a little Samson we found for $10. At the time, though, it was about $125 game. Now, it's like $2,000 game. It's crazy, yeah. And a Flintstone Surprise the Dinosaur Peak on NES, that was found for about $5. And again, at the time, it might have been a couple $100, and I think now it's like $800-900 game.
That's awesome.
So it's pretty crazy.
Okay, so a couple things. Thinking back to when you were, a little kid, first starting to play video games, what was your go-to? What was your favorite when you first started?
Oh, man. So my first gaming memory is actually Empire Strikes Back on 2600. Atari 2600. I'm that old. That's my first gaming memory. And our first console was actually an NES, and we got it because my mom wanted to play Zelda. Yep. So she went out and bought a Nintendo. So around 87 or so, we got our Nintendo. For me back then, I played a lot of Excite Bike, Mike Tyson's Punch Out, Contra, a lot of sports games. I was huge into sports back then. I mean, I still am, but it was a lot of sports games, Tecmo Bowl. Then as, I graduated into the 16-bit era, of course, Sonic. I was more a Genesis guy back then than a Super Nintendo guy. Bulls versus Lakers, Bulls versus Blazers, Team USA basketball, Tommy Lasorda baseball, just a lot of, of course, a sports talk football, Joe Montana and whatnot. Just a lot of sports games for me back when I was younger.
That's awesome. Thinking of Genesis, did you ever play Vector Man? Do you remember that one?
I have played Vector Man. Not then. I've played it as an adult. Yeah, that one's not bad.
That was my favorite one as a kid. I don't know why. I just loved it.
Okay.
Well, awesome. Fast forward to today. What's your go-to when it comes to gaming?
Ooh, I'm trying to think if I have a go-to. Super Mario Brothers 3.
You're right.
That's my favorite game of all time is Super Mario Brothers 3. I do a lot of modern gaming, but there's nothing out right now that I'm like, okay, I'm in the mood to play. Let me put on, I don't know, fill in the blank, whatever game. But I do still do a lot of retro gaming, and Super Mario Brothers 3 is something that always comes around. Mike Tyson's Punch Out, I play a lot of that. I was on GTA 5 for a very long time.
Yeah.
Very long time. So I'm waiting on 6 now. But as far as a modern game, I don't play Call of Duty. I don't play Fortnite. There's a lot of those, I don't even, what is that genre of gaming? Like Fortnite and what's the other one?
Multiplayer.
Yeah. I'm not really into that.
Yeah.
So I don't do a lot of that, but.
Same here. My main go-to is all the Legend of Zelda games. It's funny to hear you mention that. I can play those all day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the original one especially. So good.
Well, cool. Before we hop off here, could you plug where people could find you guys, social media, YouTube, all those places?
You can find us on YouTube, The Game Chasers, all of our social medias, The Game Chasers, Instagram, and Twitter. I don't think we have a TikTok. We're a little bit too old for that. So my personal channel is actually The Shady J Show. And all my social media is ShadyJ1908 if you want to follow me, just personally. So
awesome. Well, cool, man. Thanks for hopping over here and talking with us, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend here, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, you guys. We're sitting here with Geoff from Naka-Kon. Geoff, how's it going, man?
Doing pretty well. We've been really enjoying the retro event going on this weekend.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we just wanted to take a quick second and ask you to tell us a quick thing about Naka-Kon. Let all the listeners and viewers hear what's going on and what can they expect coming next and everything like that.
Yeah, Naka-Kon is an anime convention here in the Kansas City area. We've been going on ever since we grew out of the Lawrence Anime Club in 2005. So if you're going from a one-day event, 2-day, Been 3 days ever since 2007, and we're coming up this next Memorial Day weekend, May 24th, 25th, 26th.
Okay.
And we're looking at a bunch of fun guests to bring in. In the past, we've got Japanese musicians, fashion guests, and a lot of different voice actors and other folks in the anime industry.
That's awesome.
So it's pretty good.
Have you guys announced any of the things upcoming yet?
As of right now, I don't have anything that I know that I can announce without getting in trouble.
Which I
am
get
not going to do that. Except I know we just opened up registration on Cyber Monday.
Okay.
We're currently $60 for all 3 days.
Okay.
So and that's going on until February 29th because next year's leap year.
Oh, nice.
According to what my notes said. And then after that, it goes up to the general admission rate of $70 for an adult, and there's reduced prices for kids and teens. And I think we still have some of our VIP badges left too, which is a higher ticket price, but you get extra early entry into the exhibit hall and other events, and you get a special VIP t-shirt and badge and all that. It's pretty cool.
Oh, excellent. Tell our listeners, where could they go to find you guys on social media, on the internet, so they can look all this awesome stuff up?
All right, well, we're at Naka-Kon.com, Naka-Kon.com is our website. And it's the same thing to look for on all of our social media, Facebook. I think we still have a Tumblr and whatnot, but who knows these days. And we'll be here in the Overland Park Convention Center, May 24th through 26th next year.
Awesome,
and
sounds great.
Hope to see you all there.
Yeah, you guys definitely should go if you're into anime or if you're just into a good time. You need to get out there and check these guys out. It's going to be awesome.
Yep, thank you so much.
Thanks for sitting with us. What's up, guys? We are here at KC Retro, and right now I'm sitting with Sam from Folxy Cosplay and Jess from Jessica Violet Cosplay. Well, thanks for sitting down with us, you guys. First of all, you guys look great today. You have all weekend. I guess my first question is for both of you guys, what kind of got you into cosplay? Like, who were your inspirations and, like, what was some of the first stuff you did?
Well, I mean, Halloween was my favorite holiday of all time, and that's going to be your most typical response, I think, for most cosplayers is Halloween.
Growing up.
And then my brother first introduced me actually to Naka-Kon, was my first ever convention, and I've been going consecutively for 16 years. And then I saw everybody dressed up, and I realized this is a whole demographic of people. I'm like, I want to be a part of this. And I've always been artsy, and I love making stuff, so it was a snowball effect. And then when people are like, oh, you can't do big builds or you can't do this because you're a girl, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to spite you and I'm going to make something massive. And then it became my calling card. So now I'm stuck doing massive costumes, but they're great and I love them and I endorse it.
That's awesome. How about you?
Kind of a similar answer. What got me into cosplay was my best friend had just introduced me to anime and all that. And so she was like, hey, there's an anime con in town, Naka-Kon. I go and dress up. Do you want to join me? And I'm like, yeah. And if you're dressing up, I got to dress up. And so that's really what got me into the world of cosplay and seeing everyone and all the wigs, the giant props and everything. It just brought me into this whole world of possibility, really, of how you could literally become anything, anyone you want, no matter how big or small. And so what really kind of spoke to me was strong women in armor and like battle armor and crazy stuff like that, high fantasy, all of that. And so that's kind of what I've begun to specialize in, is armor builds, fantasy, all of that fun stuff. Especially when I got into D&D, I was like, I can dress as characters too now.
That's awesome. Okay, so what's your earliest, maybe the first big cosplay you ever did? What character or persona was it?
Well, my first big cosplay I bring everywhere with me, and it's actually Pentakill Kale from League of Legends. I put together my first ever actuators, and the wingspans, they open up to 13 feet with a switch that I hide in my jacket, and I built a sword that's about 5 feet tall that has glowing lights with a hidden compartment for a battery pack to go inside it as well. And that thing is massive. You have to crab walk everywhere you go, but it's still one of my favorites. It holds a lot of, special place in my heart, even if she's getting a little old, needs to be retired or fixed up. But, that's my first big one, at least.
Awesome.
My first big cosplay was Keyleth from Critical Role. It was her original artwork, and so it was my first time doing a bunch of major sewing. Like, I learned how to do corsetry, I learned how to make giant headpieces, I made antlers, wig styling, all of that. And it was kind of the first thing that really felt like I encompassed all these different aspects of cosplay into one. And so it just stuck with me, and I wore her a lot because she's also one of my favorite characters too.
Oh, that's awesome. So this might be the twofold answer. If you could only do one more cosplay for the rest of your life, what would it be?
That's a hard question.
Right.
Because there's so many things that, I mean, every single cosplayer asks, there's going to be a list of stuff we want to do,
Right.
so it's...
Big tier list.
Big tier list. I mean, originally my next big one was going to be a life-size chocobo from Final Fantasy.
Nice, that's
but
awesome.
because the last one I did was a life-size Warwick from League of Legends, which is an 8-foot-tall werewolf costume, I'm trying not to pigeonhole myself into animals, so I guess the next one I will be working on is Lilith from Diablo 4 with moving wings and the whole shebang. So I'd probably have to say that one because there's so many elements in it, between making sculptures of my head so I can do silicone molding for my skin and the horns, the animatronics and the wings, making the materials to look like fibers on the wings and having it move. It's a lot of moving parts that I really want to get down right, so I've been taking my time and studying to make sure that when I bring her to life, she's going to knock you out of the park.
That's awesome.
And again, that's also a hard question for me because I'm going through like a list of 10 individuals, so it's hard to put one, but one that's still kind of on my heart that I really want to get to eventually is one of the Valkyries from God of War. So from primarily the first game where they had the giant mechanical wings, because I'd love to venture kind of into that and those massive wings, and I've seen so many other cosplayers do it so beautifully, and like the intricate details on the helmets and on the wings and the armor, and they also use sais, which are like my favorite fantasy prop. So I'm like, that would be my big full shebang, like put everything into it, you know, building the frame, intricate detail work, all of that.
Very cool. Yeah, mad props and mad respect to you guys, because I've done very minimal cosplay, and that was hard work, so I can only imagine how much work you guys put into it. But it shows you guys look great. And one last question for you, plug yourselves. Where could people who are interested in seeing what you dress as and all your work, where can they go find you on social media and things like that?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Folxy Cosplay. It's Folxy Cosplay. You just look for the giant werewolf is all what I always say. I've been going around and doing a lot of conventions this year and hope that I can do some bigger, fancier ones next year. But no matter what, I still have fun. I just want meeting all you guys and inspiring you and helping you guys with your future costumes, because at the end of the day, that's just my passion, is to get you guys into this very, very slippery slope of a hobby and job.
Yep. And I'm Jessica Violet on Facebook, or Jessica Violet Cos on Instagram. I'm also have my website as well I'm currently developing. And so I'm beginning to develop patterns and all of that. And so if you see a character that is like a foresty nature girl with armor or horns, it's usually me. So look out for that.
Awesome. Well, you guys go check them out. They look great, and you're just going to love what you see. And yeah, thanks for stopping by with us today, guys.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, you guys, we are sitting here with Elli, who is cosplaying as Jinx from Arcane or League of Legends. Well, Elli yesterday won the Judges Choice for the cosplay competition here at KC Retro. So Elli, how did that feel?
It was honestly really, rewarding. Like, I've been doing it for a couple years now, and so there's not a lot of things that I've won, but I've won a couple things, but it was just cool to see that somebody else could see that I worked on it for a while. So
yeah, that's awesome. You kind of answered my next question, was how long have you been doing this? Go ahead.
I've been doing it for 2 years. So I've had blue hair for 2 years because it's my real hair.
Right.
So for 2 years, and then I've been dressing up as other things here and there, but mostly just Jinx. So.
Cool. Is this the first character you ever did, or what was the first one you ever did?
So obviously Halloween, but stuff. But my favorite that was not Jinx was probably Harley Quinn. Suicide Squad Harley Quinn, but I obviously love the original ones too. So
very cool. So I'm guessing, is Jinx your favorite one to do?
Oh, totally. I'm so obsessed with her. She's just my favorite comfort character, even though she's a little crazy.
Yeah.
But
Very cool.
Yes.
So do you have, looking ahead to the future a little bit, do you have another character you're really wanting to do or thinking about doing?
So not another character, but another outfit of Jinx.
Okay.
So
you've worked hard for this hair. You got to use it while you can, right?
Totally. So she has her arcane outfit, which is what I'm wearing, and then she has her game outfit, which is a lot more skin showing. So I was younger when I started this, so I was this is kind of a little. Yeah, so she's definitely on my list to do her game outfit too. So
very cool. Do you do any of your cosplay on social media or anything like that?
Yes.
For anyone that might be interested in finding it?
So on Instagram and TikTok, it's Elli.is.jinx. So like Elli.is.jinx. So yeah, that's me.
Cool. Well, you guys, she did such a great job. Obviously, she got the Judges Choice. So go find her on social media, and look at all of her awesome work.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. And thanks for stopping by and talking with us today. And congrats again on getting the Judges Choice.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hey guys, we are sitting here with Jack from Funcertainty Box, and I wanted him to take a second and just kind of tell you guys about this really cool game that they've come up with, and it sounds super awesome. So yeah, Jack, let us know, what is this game, and tell us about it.
Yeah, Billy, the game is called Miasmatic Mayhem. The name, to begin with, is kind of based off of the Black Plague.
Okay.
That, took place like, for, 12th, 11th century, something like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes colloquially called the miasma. It was first an idea originated by one of our artists named Keegan Castle, and he wanted to do this plague doctor as steampunky, modern, dystopian, whatever. And we eventually landed on the idea of, like, why don't we do a dystopian version of Kansas City? And so we decided that we'll get locations from KC that are pretty recognizable, like Union Station, Nelson Ackman Museum, the Plaza, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then kind of put them in its own universe. And the premise of it is that the miasma, which is this now become this gigantic hive mind storm, is wreaking havoc on the city. And your job as cooperative players is to go out and find these objects that are generating and forcing this storm to destroy the city one block at a time.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a tile flipping based game. It's very chaotic. The mayhem portion after miasma makes that pretty known.
And that sounds super awesome. So if anyone listening is hearing this and thinks, wow, that is super cool and I want to play that, where could they go to find this? Where could they find you guys and maybe try to buy one?
So this is our first game that we kickstarted back in June. We're now we're going through a manufacturer currently.
Okay.
It is going to be available on shelves at places hopefully like Tabletop next to Cardboard Corner in the first of 2024.
Awesome.
Like, fingers crossed. If not, we have a shop online at funcertainybox.com where you can pre-order it.
Okay.
And we'll work with you on if you want to get it shipped to you, if you want to find a pickup location, and so on and so forth. But yeah, we're going to try to hit up other conventions like Comic-Con, Midwest, and eventually KingCade again in the summer. So
awesome.
We'll definitely have copies then.
Sounds good. Well, cool. Well, thanks for stopping by and telling us about it. It sounds really cool, and I'm guessing you guys are Funcertainty Box on all your social medias.
Mm-hmm. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook. We have a little-known YouTube page with some very wacky stuff on there. I know there's a Discord for sure, and then we're working on things, some other ones I'm sure they'll pop up. And I don't mean to interject, because I knew this is a comic book-based convention that we're at, I did want to say that shout out to Sid Quaid, who's one of our artists. We have a comic as well by him known as Gridley the Exile that you can find on Amazon and our website as well if you're a big comic book guy.
Oh, yeah. Our listeners definitely love comic books, so I'm glad you brought that up. Thanks, man.
Oh, yeah.
So thanks for plugging your stuff, and hopefully the listeners will go take a look. I'm looking at the box right now, and if I had the time, I would crack it open and play right now.
Oh, it's spooky for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks for stopping by, man.
Appreciate it, Billy.
What's up, guys? We are sitting here with Hunter, A.K.A. Meat Canyon. He's got this really awesome animation YouTube page. Hunter, how you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
Doing all right. We're out here at KC Retro, just kind of chilling, man.
Yeah, it's been crazy up here.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool cosplays and stuff for sale, and this is a good time.
yeah, it's been great. Have you been getting a lot of quick interviews in and stuff?
We have. We've had some really good ones.
Yeah.
And thanks for stopping by yourself.
Of course.
I wanted to ask you to let our listeners here, tell us a little bit about Meat Canyon. For people who might not have a clue, what is that? What do you do?
I make cartoons on YouTube. I'm making the site a worse place, I think, is pretty much is how I would always say it. I think that I'm just kind of ruining I think I'm just adding to the cesspool of YouTube. Essentially, though, I'm just making like internet cartoons, horror-based internet cartoons. You may have seen one, or maybe one of your listeners have seen one. They tend to do kind of well. And then I have a second channel named Papa Meat, which just kind of like the North Star of that is just anything cringy, horror, disgusting. Here in Kansas City, I feel like I'm most known for, I made a cartoon about Travis Kelce breaking up with Taylor Swift. And that was, that got me a lot of fun death threats. That was nice. People trying to dox my house and everything. It's been great. I love it.
You're like, listening, you're just trying to give some fuel for her next album.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to, exactly. I'm just trying to prep people up for some more pop music classics.
Exactly. So for our listeners, tell them, I think you already said Meat Canyon and Papa Meat. Are you out there on social media as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on all of it. I have to be, unfortunately. I'm just, I have to be a part of every social media platform and post just endless garbage. It's insane. The amount of monetary value you get from just posting absolute garbage is unbelievable. But yeah, TikTok, all that stuff. TikTok's probably the worst, I'd say, out of all of it. But I think that, yeah, Twitter, Instagram, it's all just Meat Canyon, Papa Meat, that kind of stuff.
Okay, get a little personal here.
Yeah.
What kind of got you into this? What was your motivation to do this, or your inspiration?
Yeah, I think like cartoons especially, I think that like, well, first I've loved the culture of YouTube forever. I like the creativity that people have, even if it's, drama-filled crap, whatever. I love just people uploading random bits of their interests. Like I follow this guy from Canada. He lives in the deep woods of Canada, and he just reviews lumberjack axe heads. And I don't know, I'm fascinated with that. There's something very fascinating and calming about someone just being passionate about something. So I think I think in terms of wanting to be on YouTube, it was that. But in terms of animation, it just kind of came with being in middle school, showing up to school early before classes start, and then like Family Guy and South Park had new episodes. And
right.
The camaraderie that animation has or cartoons have with, like, it doesn't really matter. You could be from any walk of life and have that common interest to kind of love the comedy and love the show itself. And I thought that the camaraderie of that was really intriguing. So I think like when I was younger, that was me really wanting to be a part of that, wanting to have something like that, be able to like, I love this. I like the idea of people getting together and just being like, did you see this thing?
Yep.
It's awesome. Yeah. So funny.
Yeah, I don't know exactly your age. I'm 38, and when I was in middle school, South Park was kind of new. And when you're 11 and your parents kind of don't want you to watch that, and that just makes it more appealing.
Exactly.
And then you
time.
go to school and talk about it with your friends and try to do all the voices and make fun of it. And
do the voices, inside jokes. It's just great. I don't know. There's something extremely wholesome about like something that can be so crude.
Exactly.
So it's
it
nice.
Brings us together.
Yeah, it does. It really does. It brings us together.
And it's not hate. You can't call it discrimination if they hate everybody.
It's true. Yeah. If everybody's getting treated equally as bad, then you know that they're hitting the mark. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, cool, man. Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, everyone out there, go find his social media, find his YouTube page, Meat Canyon and Papa Meat.
That's right.
I guarantee you're going to get a good kick out of it.
You better.
Well, thanks, man.
Cheers, bro.
All right, so that's a wrap for KC Retro. It's been a blast. You having a good time, Taylor?
I had a blast. Got a lot of stuff I wanted.
I know. You never know what's going to happen at a thing like this, but I can guarantee you're going to find stuff you want, and you're going to leave with a little less money in your pocket.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, this has been fun. Thanks once again to the guys at KC Retro, the guys at the KingCade Arcade. Next time around, make sure you guys get out here and come to KC Retro. It's more than likely going to be next December as well. And yeah, stay tuned. In the meantime, if you got to get your fix for those arcade games, go over to the Oak Park Mall and hit up the KingCade Arcade, and then walk next door to the Retro Zone and buy some collectibles.
Yeah.
But hey, as for us here at the Taylorverse, I've been Billy Taylor.
And I bought a lot of toys.
He did. He really did. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.